Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. Today I am joined once again by Tucker Hazel, and we're here for another surprise recording
I'm
session.
liking these. I'm excited.
And Tucker, this one is in a similar vein because today is November 19th.
I don't like how this is going.
Do you want to
I
know
woke
what
up yesterday
happened?
to something very similar.
Do you want to know what happened on November 19th, 2006?
Not really, but I'm gonna find out.
The Nintendo Wii was released.
Is that true?
Yes. Today,
Oh,
Tucker,
okay.
we are
Wow.
celebrating 14 years of the
Holy
Nintendo
shit.
Wii.
I would have gone through many other like game retrospectives and all sorts of stuff. I never would have landed on the Wii. I didn't know
Yeah.
they were released a day apart, but also uh, 6 years apart.
6 years apart. Nintendo historically really likes that fucking, that like second or third week in November window.
Sure.
They also really like March. Those are
Yeah.
the two big times. I like a good March release. I have to say that's a nice fucking right through the first 3 months. Here's a Switch, here's a 3DS, things of
Yeah.
that nature.
Sure.
But
But the
here's the
Wii.
deal. The Wii.
The Wii is the deal today.
I have an interesting relationship with the Wii.
Okay.
I don't know what year I got it in. Because here's what's interesting about the Wii. When the Wii came out, I was 5, and I got the system a little bit after that. As a couple years later, it was from my parents as a gift for. I'm pretty sure it's a convergence of me just not being a fucking dumb kid anymore. Like doing my chores and getting good grades and all kinds of things of that nature. Fucking built
Yeah.
up, and one day they're like, "Hey, let's get you a Wii." For some reason, I thought the Wii cost $500 and it was some fucking astronomical
When
machine
you were a
that
kid or recently, you thought
when I
this?
was a kid, I thought I was like this. I've heard this thing's $500. I've heard I'm gonna pick up a Wii remote and not understand how to use it. I was like, I had not the first fucking clue about what the Wii really was.
Uh-huh.
So I finally got it, and here's where things get crazy, Tucker Hazel.
Yes.
Of course, it comes packed in with Wii Sports,
Yes, it does.
but
That's true.
the game I picked, because my parents were like, you can pick another game. I picked Super Paper Mario. Now here's where it gets really weird.
You
I
haven't beaten that game.
No, I haven't. But before that,
I knew it.
I had a DS and
Yeah.
I had a subscription to Nintendo Power, so I was kind of familiar with these things. But this seventh gen is really when I started to get into Nintendo in a more major way.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't know anything about Paper Mario,
Yeah.
and the copy of Super Paper Mario I got came in a generic GameStop case.
Okay.
So it wasn't even like I saw the artwork and liked the artwork.
Yeah.
I ended up with fucking Super Paper Mario and a Wii for my parents. And as soon as I got it home, I understood the Wii and I absolutely loved the system at the time.
Okay. It has been since been it's been a while.
It's been
It's been
14 years.
most of your life.
Literally most of
Of
my life.
Yeah, a large percentage of both of our lives have been spent with the Wii. And I would say personally, almost my entire gaming life. I can't think of much games I played before. I know I played fucking Webkins on my parents'
Shout out
laptops
to
and like
Webkins.
this Woody the Pooh alphabet soup educational game on my dad's computer and smaller games of that nature. And also I did DS with Pokemon and Lego Star Wars and things like that. But I don't remember when I got the Wii because in my mind it's just kind of always existed in my household.
Yeah.
My mom had Rock Band. We played Wii Sports. I would play the Wii Sports boxing. I would play the Wii Sports golf, and I didn't like any of the other ones. Um, and then Brawl came around, and I just played Brawl all the time. But I never owned a lot of Wii games. The Wii for me was just existing to play Smash Bros on and sometimes Lego Star Wars, and then we got a Star Wars Clone Wars lightsaber duel white Wii Sports or like Wii
Yep,
motion
I had that too.
game.
It's called
I
Lightsaber
had
Duels.
Yes, I had Mario and Sonic and Olympic Games. Um, and honestly, I think that was about it. So I have an interesting relationship to the Wii in that I had one for most of my life, but really all I did was fucking make Mii's on it and play Smash. Now, retrospectively, I've played a couple more games. I've just beaten Super Mario Galaxy, although I played that on my Switch, card in the corner to our review. I've played some of the Trauma Center games, which are those are good games. I've dabbled in things like Okami, in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, a couple of those more hardcore gamer games that aren't just fucking Wii Sportsy things. Um, but I have not played that much of the Wii. It's just kind of a constant in my life and not anything particularly special.
So looking back on my time, a lot of those things were similar. A ton of Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, a
Mhm.
ton of Mario Kart Wii with my family,
Yeah,
and a
never
lot of
owned that.
that was a really big one in my house. The four of us actually would play together. I think that's one of the only games my entire family really played a lot of together. A lot of Wii Sports, a lot of Wii Sports Resort, which is still an underrated game. I think that's excellent. And
Uh,
Wii Fit Plus. Those are kind of like the core games in my house. Of course, I had some of the Star Wars stuff you talked about, but I also had a GameFly subscription during this time because as a little kid,
Interesting.
I didn't have money, and my parents told me that I could either have a GameFly subscription or a monthly allowance. And I was like, I want GameFly. So I played a lot of stuff during the Wii era.
Oh
A
wow,
lot
okay.
a lot of good games and a lot of like shit. A lot of like weird licensed stuff I'd see in like an article Nintendo Power. Because keep in mind, I didn't really have access to the internet at this point in my life, but I had Nintendo Power. So I'd see some fucking random license game that I really wanted. I remember getting a Chicken Little like spy game through GameFly and being so pumped up about it. But I also played a lot of great games at the time too. The first game I bought with my own money was either Super Mario Galaxy 2 or Super Mario Brothers Wii. I played both of them
Hmm.
extensively, played Twilight Princess extensively. I actually played a lot of Pikmin during this time
Okay.
with new play control. So there was a lot of good stuff I got into. And then as I got a little bit older, I went back and played more things I had missed, like the Metroid Prime 3 and the trilogy, played Punch Out Wii, played a lot of things like that, Donkey Kong Country. A lot of the heavy hitters I missed, I picked back up. So I've experienced the majority of the Wii's library. Um,
Big library.
the big library, both the more casual software and the hardcore software, quote
Sure.
unquote. Um, and yeah, the Wii just has a strange place in my heart because it's this machine I've got a lot of nostalgia for, but it's not a machine I'm find particularly compelling in terms of its library
Yeah.
in the modern day. One thing I think we should touch on, I don't know how much you used it, but I used the Virtual Console a lot. Between the Virtual Console and the Nintendo, I think I know my answer, but between the Virtual Console and Nintendo Power when I was a little kid, that's where I got my love for Nintendo's history because when you're a kid it's a lot easier to be like, hey mom, here's fucking $5 covered in honey and gum and dirt. Can I give this to you and get an NES game off of the Virtual Console than being like, hey, here's $50, this is all I've earned in my entire lifetime.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
played a
Sure.
lot of things. And I played GameCube games too that I'd get secondhand from thrift
Sure.
stores. So a lot of my memories with the Wii, sure, were with its software, but a lot of it also was that legacy component. So I'm always going to have this great nostalgia and sentimental value for the Wii.
Well, yeah, I think my answer is as fucking obvious as it comes when it comes to me. Do you think I knew that there was an eShop on the Wii? No fucking way. Are you kidding me? All I used was the Me channel. That like all the other ones were just extra buttons that happened to sit around the Me channel. And I obviously retrospectively know that it exists and it's interesting, but no, I never used that once because I didn't know it even was real at the time.
So you
If you
tell me
could
you
tell me
never.
that there was a game that didn't have a disc and you could play it fucking in the ether that wasn't Minecraft or a Flash game, I would have fucking told you you were crazy.
So you never watched Nintendo Week?
N- no idea what that is.
Do you remember the Nintendo Channel? Because on the Nintendo Channel, there's just a
Was it one of
weekly.
those buttons that surrounded the Me channel?
Yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But here's what's really weird about it, because I think this just speaks to where we are in our lives now as players compared to then. You might have been completely fucking oblivious, but I was getting my news from either Nintendo Power, which I got once a month, or Nintendo Week, which I'd watch every Thursday. It starred Gary and Allison. This is a weird thing if you ever want to hop on YouTube for this weird fucking mid 2000s fever dream. But it's basically like a weekly YouTube show, but it was hosted on the Nintendo channel. Which they show you gameplay, they give you updates about what's coming out, and they have fun little skits. It was really fucking weird. There's a character named Dark Gary who was just Gary, but he put on a stick-on goatee and wore a beanie, and he'd come in and fuck with Gary and Allison. It was really campy, but I've got a lot of this. There was a lot of heart to it, and I think what
Sure.
I love about the Wii is the heart that it had. Because even if you didn't engage with it, I had so much fun going on the Everybody Votes channel and the Find Me channel and photo and weather and news and using everything on the system in addition to games. I think the Wii really was a high point for Nintendo, even if looking back on it, it's nowhere near my favorite era of the company.
Yeah, I mean, I currently have you in about a third of my screen, and the other two-thirds taken up by Google Chrome, in which I'm looking at the Wii's
Porn?
library and some of the, well, kind of. I mean, Donkey Kong Country Returns is an erotic experience, but looking at a lot of these games, there are a few entries from most of the main Nintendo staples, but really that's kind of it when it comes
Yeah,
to the hitters of the Wii's library. And I haven't even played a solid section of those games.
sure.
Neither of the Wii Zelda games. Never played Donkey Kong Country Returns. I never played any of the Metroid Prime games. Haven't played Galaxy 2. Um, Super Paper Mario, nope. WarioWare Smooth Moves, nope.
I haven't played that
Um,
one.
but the ones I did play, I do really enjoy. I have a couple of a handful sprinkling of Wii games in my favorite games of all time, Brawl being one of them, but the other one being Kirby's Epic Yarn, which is the
Interesting.
only Kirby game I knew growing up. I didn't really know there were many other Kirby games, which of course is a fucking shit-faced lie. There were a gazillion of them by that point. Um, and I still love that game to this day. I think it's one of the most creative Kirby games. I think the fact that it strips out a lot of Kirby elements and it just has something that happens to feature a form of Kirby, I think is pretty interesting. That's just a fun game. The music of that is very nostalgic to me, but really my nostalgia with the Wii comes solely from Super Smash Brothers Brawl. And
Hmm.
I remember we're just going to talk about nostalgic bits from our past in the Wii. I remember the first time I even knew Smash Brothers existed. I was on a vacation in California. We were visiting my parents' old friends, and their kids had a Wii. And they had this game called Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and I didn't know what the fuck it was, but it had Pokemon Trainer in it, and that was cool to me. I could play as Charizard, Ivysaur, and Squirtle, and there was Pikachu, and there's Lucario, and I was like, holy shit, there are Pokemon in this. So I kind of have a connection to it. Did I know almost any other character there except for maybe Sonic and Mario? Nope. I couldn't tell you what a fucking snake was. Ice Climbers, Game and Watch? No fucking way. Are you kidding me? I'd never heard of any of this shit except for Pokemon. And I was bad at it. And we eventually got our own copy. And I just remember unlocking all those characters, learning about Nintendo history through the trophies and their descriptions and looking up, okay, what the fuck is this thing? I've never heard of this. Like it's an enemy from this game, never heard of this game. What's the console? Because at that point, I didn't know there were many other consoles other than the ones that were out at the time. I was playing Xbox 360, DS, and Wii, and that was it for video games. And when I was learning that there were what 4 or 5 Nintendo consoles before the Wii, there were PlayStations. I didn't know PlayStations existed at that time. There was an older Xbox. There was stuff coming out. It was an interesting era for me to be discovering the world of video games in sort of a retrospective way. Because growing up as someone who just played a couple of video games, it was so much to dig into. There was so much history that I was fantastically surprised by. I can remember the time where I was sitting when I fucking found out that Pichu was in a game called Super Smash Brothers Melee. And I was like, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. There's a young Link. That's ridiculous. Why would they put that in a game? I don't know, man. There's just so many interesting memories that I have with the Wii that are tangential to it, but very little of them involve playing the system.
Yeah. No, and I think that's fair because we were young, and when you're younger, you experience games in a weird and different way. I remember I got a lot of knowledge out of Brawl. I got that from a family friend. I think maybe it was weird. It was like for Easter or something. It was a weird series of events that ended up with Brawl in my possession, but I played
It's a
so
good
much of that
possession to have.
fucking game. Yeah.
Brawl's
And
great.
I played a lot of the masterpieces, which have kind of faded out of the series.
Okay.
And that's actually where I played Star Fox 64 for the first time.
I didn't even know
Uh,
that was in Brawl.
yeah, so Brawl is a fucking cottage industry of itself of memories and history and everything that we should talk about sometime. But
Yeah,
no,
we should get a Smash Bros. Brawl episode on that game's anniversary.
yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. But I have got a lot of memories of the system in that respect.
Sure.
But as I've gotten older, I've come to really appreciate what the Wii does in some respects and be a little bit more frustrated by the direction it pivoted Nintendo in
Okay.
others. I think that Satoru Iwata's leadership during that era is so fucking visionary and incredible that it's one of the things that really cemented him as one of my role models in this industry. I think
Sure,
the
yeah.
idea to chase the blue ocean consumer, to take Nintendo in a different direction, was so smart and so
Excuse you.
forward thinking that it not only shifted Nintendo's course, but it shifted the industry's course.
Yeah.
You look at the way that
Connect,
Sony, yeah,
PlayStation Move.
yeah, they followed Nintendo on that, and third
Yeah.
parties followed them, and they made a system so successful they strong-armed third parties into basically developing PS2 caliber motion controlled enabled ports of AAA seventh generation games to cater to this audience.
Yeah.
It's an instance of Nintendo's innovative thinking, of the blue ocean consumer, of lateral thinking with withered technology coalescing in a machine that nobody else but Nintendo would have made. No one else would have had the balls to do that, especially after the GameCube, because this was even riskier than just making,
Oh yeah.
then let's try to have another dedicated system. Let's just try to get third parties back on board. This was a complete rejection. And I think that makes it one of the most interesting chapters in Nintendo's history, but it's one in hindsight that does not serve an enormous section of Nintendo's player base.
Yeah. Current
It
player base.
current player base, but even the player base at the time, the way that they missed out on a lot of more mature experiences.
Sure.
Sure, you had them, but they were gone. The Wii certainly became the casual machine. And I don't think
Yeah.
casual is a dirty word. People use it that way in some circles. I don't think it is. And they did, to the Wii's credit, they did try to balance that out. And sometimes they were able to hit that mark, but other times they weren't. And I think it just created this almost echo chamber where Nintendo had, for a time, forgotten some of their roots. And this new direction served them so well at the time, but it feels out of step with the rest of Nintendo's lineage.
Mhm.
And so I don't find myself revisiting the Wii or its library very often.
Yeah, I mean, I have my Wii U back there. Oh, that fucking mirrored thing. Uh, which obviously can play Wii games, and I have a couple of Wii games behind me. I think I have both the Galaxy games, Trauma Center Second Opinion, and maybe one more. No, actually, that's it. Only three games. But my Wii library is pretty small. Even when I was into retro game collecting, it kind of just seemed like there was so much filler content on there that was
Yeah.
just crapware that I could pick up for 99 cents. A couple of my most of my cheapest games I've ever purchased are crap Wii games from the fucking back of a GameStop or a bucket at a garage sale because they made so many because there were so many people who fucking bought this damn thing. Like its sales are absolutely astronomically ridiculous. But unfortunately, that led to a lot of the library being filled with just not great stuff. And I think that contributes to the fact that this console has been relatively overlooked as we've reached eras of Nintendo that are more serving to their player base with the Switch and even with the Wii U, where they were trying to mix the ideas a little bit more. And the industry has focused more on things like graphics and power in the PlayStation and Xbox world. And Nintendo has sort of, in some ways, taken a back seat. But I think that sort of starts with their focus on casual games with the Wii, that being a success for them clearly, but that not carrying into future generations. It's an interesting pros versus cons that you got to think about when regarding Nintendo's history.
Yeah, it's really interesting, that kind of push and pull between the software that was compelling, because of course there is a question of technical fidelity, and the Wii is often called the fucking two GameCubes get duct taped together in terms of power, and it kind of is. But when you look at what that system really pushed in terms of hardware, it was those Wii brand games. It was your Wii Play, your Wii
Yeah,
Fit, your Wii Music, all of those things, for better or worse. And those racked up 20, 25, 35 million copies sold, which are
yeah,
just largely untouchable numbers outside of a few games. But I don't think they endure as well. I don't really think there's a reason to go back to many of
no,
those.
yeah,
Outside of some things, I think, like a Wii Sports Resort, I think holds up pretty nicely. But that is what the library is, and that's what Nintendo pivoted as, and it's what they needed at the time. But
sure.
that's not what we need anymore. So when I go back to the library, I just don't see the same draw that I saw in the moment. And it really was a product of its time and
Yeah.
more of a curiosity looking backwards. I think actually some of the Wii's strongest software still is on the more casual side, but it has that more hardcore bend to it. I think one of the best and most underappreciated games in the system is Mario Super Sluggers. Super
Sure.
Mario Baseball is the GameCube one. But the way that they were able to in some games integrate the Wii's motion controls and its more multiplayer, family-friendly, casual focus into a more traditional title did result in some really great things.
Yeah.
But I just think that the Switch, for as many things as I think that it gets wrong, what it gets right is the harmony between the casual components and the more hardcore components.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't think that the Wii quite hit that balance.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look back on not only you and I, who are big gamers, history with the Wii and consoles in general, but I do think that the Wii shaped our generation of gamers in a very interesting way, shifting them more towards that casual market than any previous generation. Because I have lots of friends who play video games and lots of friends who play some video games, and most of them, when looking back, continue the trajectory of just playing things like Wii Sports, like Mario Kart, those smaller, more family friendly titles, and it's fun. It's fun, not necessarily fun, but interesting to sit down and play Mario Kart or Smash with someone, and they say, "Oh, how do I turn on the motion controls? I only want to play with motion controls." Or playing Smash, like, "Oh, well, I can't have a nunchuck. Like, why? That's a little bit weird." Like, I don't know. It's interesting to see my friends and our generation being shaped by a console that was so popular and was so many of our generation's first consoles, because it's nothing like anything before it and mostly anything since.
Well, I think the thing about it is that there was a ubiquity to the Wii that few other systems
Yes.
had for a lot of different
Uh-huh.
reasons. One was contrary to what fucking dumb little, probably 7 at the time year old Abram thought, the console wasn't $500, it was 250, which
Hmm.
was incredibly affordable and it didn't need an HDMI connection, which at that time was a big deal. A lot of people didn't have HD TVs. I didn't have an HD TV when I got my Wii. I didn't have one until pretty soon before I got my Wii U, actually in 2014. So it was an accessible machine that spoke to people outside of the demographic. And then you get things like when Netflix transitioned over and when adults wanted to play Wii Fit and they wanted to play Wii Sports, it was just something that people had in their homes. And I've got a lot of
Yeah.
friends, unlike your friends, who had a Wii because it was so ubiquitous, but then moved into more hardcore fare. So
Mhm.
their Nintendo touchstone is the Wii. And
Yeah.
I think that the two big touchstones for Nintendo are the NES and the Wii for various generations. And it'll be curious to me to see if the Switch becomes that third touchstone, if that's
I
able to
certainly think it's
reach.
possible. Yeah.
It's possible. I don't. Nothing is ever going to reach the Wii's sales, but
Hmm.
the NES didn't sell nearly as much as the Wii, but it still has this sort of cultural resonance for different reasons. Of course, the way it reinvigorated the entire industry, but I think that the Switch could be in that conversation too, and we could be looking down the line again where there's people that again had another brush with Nintendo here with the Switch, but the Wii
Yeah.
really was this chance encounter for a lot of people with my favorite corner of this industry.
Hmm.
And so it is interesting to see the dichotomous ways people connected with the machine.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly shaped the industry in a lot of ways, as we were saying earlier. But I mean, just reflecting on myself as a gamer and not being able to say that I played Zelda or Mario or Metroid or Donkey Kong on a Nintendo console is just a testament to how ubiquitous this was. And I didn't know a lot of those games existed at the time. I was a Pokemon guy. I was a Smash Bros guy. I played Flash games on my computer, and that was about it. And I played more video games than almost anyone I knew at
Yeah.
that point in time. Um, but the focus of on casual games and that sort of being my experience and a lot of my friends' experiences with casual games, and then that shifting into most of the games I played, and most games my friends played being on an iTouch or or a phone. Like we played mobile games. That was about it. I mean, I my brother basically only played mobile games for most of his life, and honestly, still to this day, because the industry videos were becoming more ubiquitous in a way that they hadn't before. And it was no longer that special thing like, oh, you had to understand how playing buttons and something moving on the screen worked. It was, okay, you can move your hand and you're playing tennis. And my mom wanting to play Rock Band on it, and my dad unlocking Ness for me and Brawl. Like, that's a weird memory I have. I couldn't beat fucking Ness, but my dad did somehow. He didn't know how to play Smash Bros. As good as me, but it showed how well anyone could pick up this system. And I think that that's pretty special.
Yes, it's a special machine, and a lot of different people were able to get something different out of it. It's the most my parents probably ever really played video games.
Yeah.
But I think that the point you hit on, which was the iceberg that Nintendo didn't see coming, was that mobile market,
Yeah.
which sucked all of those consumers away, and how you
Yep.
end up with 12 million of these sold, 13, I think
Yeah.
13.8, something like that. There's more extenuating factors, of course, marketing and various things, but Nintendo was able to show the promise of the casual market, and then that got pivoted to devices that they already had, which was the
Yep.
natural progression of that, and Nintendo just didn't see that coming. So I think it's great that they've course corrected again with the Switch a little bit and not forgotten this. I love
Mhm.
seeing this sort of a WADA era philosophy still make its way into the Switch with things like Ring Fit Adventure, or
Yeah.
even just hardware level innovations in the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
It's great to see that the lessons of the Wii were learned properly. It wasn't a baby out with the bathwater. It wasn't fucking double down again, get out of the way, whatever. It was, let's look at what we did right, because we did a lot right here. But there is
Yeah.
some things we missed, and having the Wii's DNA carry through in some respects, I think is really important. Even if, I would much rather revisit either the GameCube or the Wii U on either side of the
Mhm.
Wii's library than that itself. But on the whole, it's an important console. It's an interesting console. It's one I want to study more, and think about a little bit more critically. It's a really interesting era in Nintendo's history, and I'm glad that we're taking the time today to
Yeah.
celebrate it 14 years later.
I mean, I'm enjoying these retrospectives. A lot of my information on anything video game related comes in more recent years tangentially through other people's experiences. I know most of the things that I know about the Wii, its history, and the programs that weren't me channel from Scott DeWaz's episodes on the Wii, because he's done plenty of different videos that are incredibly informative, not to mention entertaining on the Wii, because that was his console when he was growing up. And I think that that's pretty cool to see our generation sort of tackling video game history in a new way, because we was so impactful. But I don't have that much more to say. I didn't have that much to say on the Wii in the beginning, but it had a lot of impact on me personally, even if I didn't play it too much.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's a very nostalgic period in my life, and it's interesting. It's interesting to contrast the ways that I learned so much and played so much, but got it all from this weekly Nintendo show and then from a monthly magazine to now I'm on Twitter every 5 minutes getting news instantly, and
Yeah.
it's just interesting to see the way that we have grown as players as the industry has grown as a collective.
Hmm.
So yeah, I want to pick up some more Wii games and just have them. I've sold a lot of them
Yeah. Same.
during that fucking phase where I needed money and didn't have it and didn't have a job and wanted new games.
Hmm.
So I'd like to restock that library a little bit, because
Yeah.
there are some good games in there. I don't think it's to um the quantity of other Nintendo systems, but they
No.
are
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and
The
that's
unfortunate
about
part is
that.
that a lot of them were not produced in the numbers that I kind of wish they had. So the good ones cost a lot still. Like if you want to go get fucking Skyward Sword, like $55 to $60, that's a I mean, that's a number compared to the rest of the Wii's library.
Certainly wish there was some way to get it for $20 with widescreen cleaned up visuals
That'd be
directly to
crazy.
your home at any time through an HD Nintendo. That'd be fucking nuts.
That'd be
That's
crazy.
not possible. That's not possible. Just have to wait for Nintendo to stop making all those brand new experiences and go back for once in a blue moon and bring Skyward Sword to Switch.
Hmm.
I'm not salty about anything.
I can't tell what point you're trying to make here, to be honest. You're just
What I'm
doing a lot
saying
of
is
fucking
fucking buy
uh
Skyward Sword for $20 on here. Don't wait for Nintendo to make another goddamn port to the Switch, because they will. And
They
I'll buy
will,
it,
and I'll buy
but I
it,
won't be happy about
and
it.
I'll wait till Skyward Sword comes out on the Switch when I buy it. Love you too, buddy. And to see you guys in another video. Do you have a point you really need to make, or are you just fucking ranting and raving again? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, do it. Fucking do it, you little bitch. Nice. That because there is something cool that's like a tease in there. I'm not sure if it's really gonna pull me back in. I'm gonna need to see how they do with bug fixes and things like that. But they teased that Clint's storyline is he's teleported into the future. It's Old Man Hawkeye mixed with the Maestro storyline, where Hulk's the last living creature and like taking over the world. So that's a pretty cool story concept.
Clint Stevens?
That wasn't it was even less funny than the last 4 times you made that joke.